Hey guys, KoJack here. Alright, since Bacon Force went into more detail about the individual courses and areas in the game, I felt as though I should follow suit. Not really because he did it, but because I was strapped for time when doing the game finale, and I felt it was unfair to let the LP end on such a brief note. Especially with how, tongue-tied I get when trying to describe anything when I'm live. Because, I go like, and then I'm like silent for like 5-10 seconds trying to figure something out, and then it just becomes all awkward and stuff. So full disclosure here, this is all post commentary and fully scripted out. I will be probably going off script at some points like I just did, maybe to point out something I missed or something I thought up on rewatching the courses or something along those lines. So let's get right to it. We're going to be doing this like course by course. So let's get to the overworld. The first overworld was a great introduction to the game. It gives you this like really spacey cosmic vibe, like particularly with like the texturing and design overall, like that little rainbow stuff scrolling through the bottom of the level. I liked how the level entrances as a whole were implemented in the game, like the usual Mario 64 shtick. Like, some of the side courses were like a little vague to find, but they generally weren't too stupid, and it's a good sign of things to come. So let's get right into the courses themselves, which was... Course 1 was Koopa's Domicile, and I really think it set the tone for the rest of the game, kind of. It's incredibly easy, just like Bomberman Battlefield was, but there's some deceptive traps in the level you wouldn't think would be there, like, for instance, the water under the bridge is actually quicksand, and I died in it when I first interacted with it, so that was a good lesson learned. And then there was the galaxy-esque platforms on the top of the level when exploring that. But otherwise, the big fall-on fight was pretty standard, coins were simple, Koopa statue and the texturing were all a nice touch, so yeah, pretty solid for a starting level. Course 2. I'm not really sure about Goomba's Gala site, to be quite honest. It doesn't set itself apart too much from Koopa's Domicile. It still has basically what the Course 1 had, like basic platforming, a deceptive trap that's kind of hard to run into, but I sure did run into it myself, which was the lava. It has an easy boss, the Wiggler fight, a hidden star that's not really so hidden, and easy coins. Like, I suppose the overall shape of the level and texturing job saves it from being a complete clone, but the music, ooh, I love the music. I mean, I'm a sucker for anything Kirby, and hearing Kirby's block ball stuff again, even if it is a remix, was great. So, decent marks for that, I guess. Check his sanitarium. I'm not sure why that was spelled wrong, but maybe Tetrakettle's from a different country, and that's how the word is spelt there. It's not really a big deal. Either way, of course, is fine. Platforming started to get a little harder as time went on, but still not too bad, which is to be expected. Overall, feel the level was pretty good, but it's still a little samey. My only real memory prior to rewatching the clip is like, me failing to get to the star on the top of the house twice and falling off the edge, so maybe that was a sign of things to come, because Course 4, what do I really say about that? Well, I can say that it was incredibly out of place, with a massive difficulty spike. Now, there's nothing wrong with a difficulty spike normally, even a big one, but it has to be placed right, and this was not placed right. I would have switched this and a few other courses around, and while it wouldn't even nearly beat out a light Kaizo level in difficulty, I would say it was the hardest regular course in the entire hack. Like, there's so many places to fall off and like slip off and like fall into the death void or the lava, or just take so much freaking fall damage that you die anyway. And the fact that I was having like an off day the moment I was playing that level kind of amplified it, although that's no fault of the courses. But the design is great. Like, It kind of has the same feel as the first overworld. It has this cosmic-y, spacey vibe, which is kind of alluded to during the name, which is, again, Warped Walleye Nebula. So, I didn't really care for the music, though. I'm not a bigger fan of the Bee Gees, even as a remix. So let's move on to Course 5, which is Timeless Palace. It's a pretty good place to put Course 5. Not too hard, but sort of shaking off the too easy part of the previous levels. Bubba being a one-hit KO obstacle keeps you on your toes when you're in the pond trying to get to the Vanish Cap course. And scaling the heights is a pretty bit harder than before. Womp Fight was, well, it's a Womp Fight. Nothing really to say about that. Design-wise, it doesn't really bring anything new since we've had ruins-like designs in courses 1 and 2 already. I didn't really like the placement of that rectangle star because it was kind of dumb, and I did somehow glitch through a lot of the textures in this level. I know Redial did as well, which kind of brought some laughs, but probably should I don't know. Maybe there was a way to prevent it, maybe not. But maybe proof your game a little more, but I would probably run into the same issues, so there's nothing on you. You're fine. Okay, now, Course 6, Boo's Murky Function. Still not breaking any new ground design-wise, and honestly, a lot of the stars were pretty easy. I mean, the carousel was a pretty good way to handle the secrets, but it was still pretty easy. What I did think was jarring was that Rainbow Ride platform on the way to get to a red coin in the Metal Cap course. I had so much difficulty with that one platform alone that alone bumped up the level's difficulty. I didn't like it. It's like, it felt like too great of a shift at that point of the game. Kind of like Course 4, but not really. So it's not as egregious, so I can let it slide. That's fine. So, Mario's Space Camp. Oh, this was a great level. I loved the aesthetic and the music because, you know, I'm a sucker for Mario Galaxy stuff, and Space Junk Galaxy is one of my favorite tracks in the entire game. So, again, music-wise, design-wise, it was perfect. The stars themselves were pretty easy, but also really handled really well, too. Like, it would take you, like, a few seconds to figure out where they are, and then they're easy. Like, secrets were, again, handled pretty well. Like, and the way to get them was, like, using the Vanish Cap, and it was done really uniquely. I wouldn't have thought to do that, but I'm like, they got the 2 secrets before getting the Vanish Cap, and I'm like, I wonder if this'll help. And I'm like expecting to like phase through the ground and run, but no, you swim. So that was interesting, and I really liked how that was handled. I didn't like that there were heave hos in the course, but they weren't too bad of a hindrance. It was easy to get around them. So, yeah, top notch, and probably one of my favorite courses in the game, if not the favorite course in the game. Now we're moving on to Overworld 2 courses, so let's take a look at Magmatic Nexus here. It's the only fire-themed level in the hack, if I am recalling correctly, and I think it delivered pretty well. Koopa Race was fine, as was the hilarious dialogue. And the way to get that star in the cage was not with the Vanish Cap, but with the Metal Cap, which was interesting for me to find that out. Yeah, difficulty was ramping up, so I think this was the perfect place to put this stage. Not so perfect was the music. Again, not a biggest fan of Disco Inferno, but I can see why he put it here, and I don't really have a problem with it, so gets a pass. Let's move on to Course 9, which is Exoplanet Expedition. Interesting name. I think this is where the big tonal shift of the hack started to happen, because the stars now definitely got harder to find. A lot of them required warps and or traversing around the entire level to find. Now, it wasn't too huge, but even so, you're going to spend a lot of time looking around for things here, and a lot of the hazards can catch you and send you back to the beginning of what was already a long hunt, so Be prepared for that. And of course, Lakitas in particular are annoying, but I mean, you all know how I feel about those assholes these days. Still, if you know what you're doing, you'll breeze through this course, which of course I don't, but with the power of save states, anything is possible. Design-wise, it's interesting. Like, from the name, you kind of know that it's like a planetary base of operations or something, and you kind of get that vibe just looking around at the course. Yeah, either way, I like it. It has its flaws, but it's a good course. Now, coming to a course I do actually have a lot of problems with. It doesn't drag the course down too much, but Enchanted Barrens, which is course 10, I don't like linear courses. Like, you shouldn't, when playing a Mario 64 hack, it should all be about exploration and not just going along one single path to get all the stars. Like, I think there was a level like this in Decades Later. I think it was the TikTok clock replacement, but that handled it way better because after you got a star, you were teleported back to where the star was to get to the path that was on for the next star. And so it was basically ascending the clock, but when you re-entered the level, you're already placed at where the previous star was, so it wasn't that bad. This would just put you right at the beginning every time, and you had to go through that exact same line all over. And there were no branching paths at all, no alternate ways to get stars. So that kind of hurt Course 10 for me. Also, what hurt it was the music choice. Like, I think I mentioned during the video, it's like, what is this from? This is like Hyrule Castle or whatever, but it just kept droning on, and I don't like that. It got really annoying, especially when I had to do so much of the level over and over again. That being said, when you actually got to the stars, they were extremely easy. Except for the red coins. I think this was the first level where they became legitimately hard to get, because there was that thing at the top of the level where you had to run across the thin platforms to get 4 red coins. You're still good. I think in later levels the red coins should be a challenge like they are in regular Mario 64. I still think the design hurts it a lot though. Like, it resembles Course 4 a lot too in terms of overall look. So, and I think Course 4 did it better. I think Course 10 would probably be the weakest course in the whole hack, but that's just me. I'm not sure what the other guys think. What definitely isn't the weakest course in the whole hack is Course 11, which was Mario's zany playground. Yes. So, again, ludicrously simple and small, again, but it made you feel like you were in a sandbox and you could go wherever the hell you wanted. Like, I did enjoy the 3D world sections where you got sucked to the other side of the pipe, although I wouldn't really call it a pipe, it's more square. And I wasn't expecting a big bully boss, but he wasn't too hard to get rid of. So I would say maybe a little too easy for this late into the game, but I don't think it's anything extraneous. I'd say it's probably one of the better courses. Don't know if I can really say the same for Thwomp's Assembly. That would be Course 12. Course 11 was more of a sandbox. This was just like all over the place, and it forced you to explore like a lot. The Vanish Cap is integral to almost half the stars in the level. You wouldn't think that, but explore a bit more. Just try it. That's what happened to me. And then you'll finally see, oh, there's a box behind that cage that I would never have thought to turn the camera around for and see. Yeah, that's why that took me so long. Otherwise, stars are fine. Not really a fan of the Tomodachi Life music being there. I liked it, but it was a strange choice. Not bothersome, though. What I did think was bothersome was the texturing. Like, he's been doing fine okay with the overall look so far, but this is where I think it got way too messy. Like, green and purple are fine together, but I think Tetrakill just like randomly threw brambles onto random textures in the level and then hoped they would fit in or whatever. I'm not an art expert myself. It just seemed incredibly out of place. But that's just my take. So, let's move on to Course 13, shall we? which is Ionized Towers. Now, yeah, I wasn't expecting Ionized Towers to have Toad's Turnpike music. It's not the music I'd think of when traversing this level. I mean, it's less out of place than Quirky Questions, but it's still out of place. Even so, the level design was really cool. Like, there were so many dark textures, but they blended really well together, and I didn't think they really clashed that much. I didn't expect the blue flame star, so, because remember when I started that video and the course, like, I was like, oh hey, this is my second time recording this, and I was trying to get up here because I thought this was a secret warp. Nope, it's a secret, and there were 4 other secrets to get, so luckily I could cheese them, but you can usually cheese secrets like those, especially if the secrets are behind flames. It's definitely a contender for the hardest regular course in the game, but I still think Course 4 beats it. Like, the reds were definitely in odd places. I didn't think they were that bad. I mean, it definitely weren't bad as that placement of the Vanish Cap star in the previous course. Or the last red coin in Course 14, Cold Fused Lands. But yeah, I don't think that you should put a red coin out of sight. I already have my beef with like hiding things in dumb places, and you really shouldn't put a red coin in a place where nobody can see it, especially behind a pipe. Like, I know that some of the objects load in from a distance sooner than others, and I think stars and red coins will always be visible, but still, that shouldn't be a clue to where that is, as to go where it is. That, to me, that's bad design. You shouldn't do that. I guess putting a red coin purposely off an edge where you have to just jump and take damage isn't as bad, but it's still pretty bad. Otherwise, it was fine. It was hard. I'd say about as hard as Course 13, if not harder, but still think Course 4 is the hardest course in the game. But yeah, 14 isn't no slouch in the difficulty department either. Lots of places to jump and die, again. I didn't think a single star was easy. Maybe except for the star that required the wing cap, but you still had to make lots of jumps up to actually get to the wing cap. So, interesting music choice with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, which I finally know what that track is from, interestingly. And I think the design was interesting as well. I still think the texturing is a little overdone on the non-icy parts, but oh no, I don't see a major problem with it. It was fine. Last course, which was Solar Solace Oasis, if I recall correctly. Yes. Alright, so honestly, I think this was out of place. It was incredibly easy. You could have switched this and Course 4 around, and it would have been way more in character. It's funny because I was having a hard time with this course at first, and I immediately thought this was a huge step up in difficulty. And then, like 30 seconds afterwards, it just became stupidly easy. That being said, I really liked the design of this course. It was immaculate. Like, the colors and textures meshed together perfectly. Like, I'm not sure if I'm cool with Quicksand being the dark blue texture that it was, but it's fine. I also thought the music was out of place at the beginning too, but after thinking about it for a bit, I do think Isle Delfino does work here too, so overall, too easy for this point of the game, but hey, I won't complain. Now, let's move on to cap courses. Vanish Cap is probably my favorite because it was pretty involved, and you went all over the level trying to find stuff, which is fine because the level wasn't that big. Secrets were a little scummy, but not as scummy as the rectangle star in Course 5, which I already talked about. Also, here is where that Redial theme from Bomberman started to play in the hack, and it was also in Course 1 of Mario and the Dreamscape I think it might have been a slightly different remix, though. But, yeah, that Redial theme would be playing in the challenge courses with different remixes. I'll get to the challenge courses in a bit, but Wing Cap was probably my next favorite. I know, shocker, isn't it, Josh, that I would put Wing Cap over Metal Cap, but it's true, because Wing Cap was pretty unique, honestly. I liked the design of it. Even though it was a smaller course, there was a lot to do, and even though there was a little dickish of to put them behind piranha plants, it's pretty unique, and it forced you to think on how to best approach them. Didn't like the amps being there, but you know how I feel about amps. But yeah, so Metal Cap was the weakest for me because it was just a jumble. It was just a jumble of stuff. It's like, it's little more than, hey, go here with the cap. Here's some secrets. Here's this giant stack of lava platforms that you bounce up to. Here's some bunches of red coins here because I didn't know where else to put them. And then just one ascending star. That's, I don't know. Like, the red coins really confused me. Like, there's 3 right in one area and then 2 in another area just like right next to each other. Like, what? Why? Why would you do that? Talked about the cap courses, let's talk about secret stages. Such as the grid. Oh, the grid. Oh, I love the grid. I think the only real detracting factor is that the warp took you to 2 stars that were really close to each other, and you basically had to do basic platforming for both of them. But they still weren't too bad. I liked the design. The music was pretty nice, haunting, basically. Red coins are basic. Wing Cap kind of makes them easier, but the last star was probably my favorite because Course 12 called back to it with its blue flames, but yeah, there's blue flames around the grid, and you're like, okay, I gotten 3 stars, why is the Metal Cap here? And then you look around and it's like, you get a eureka moment, and it's like, oh, what if I fly through those? Bingo, you got them. Grid was probably my favorite side course. That's including challenge courses and cap courses. I think Vanish Cap is a close number 2, though. Stellar Slide. It's there. It's fine. It's a slide. What do you want me to say? So, we got red coins over dangerous jumps. We got a carousel that you have to ascend while dodging blue fire, which is fine, and we have to go down a slide twice, once to actually get the star at the bottom, and another to use the warp right after. So I'm gonna actually break away from the easy aspect and say I probably would have appreciated some Kaizo nonsense here. Like, the area is enclosed, so go ahead, put some enemies in the boxes that don't have the star. Like, throw in a Chukya, or a Heave-Ho. Like, that's where you put the difficulty, baby. But yeah. Okay, so, the Chill Billy and the Pipe in Course 14. I really don't like how that was handled. So that stage is basically climb all this way up and hope the bully doesn't shove you off so you don't have to do it all over again. And I really don't like design like that. You basically get punished for making one false move, and then you have to waste time getting back up. I mean, it's not an inconvenience for people with save states, like, unless you forget to save state. But yeah, again, you have to basically kill the bully and don't fall off, otherwise you spend like another minute or 2 trying to get back up. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a great level designer myself, but I would have handled it differently. Say, like, I would have put the bully in a bigger arena at ground level with walls arranged in a maze, and you have to push the bully around the maze to like one of several holes in the ground by hitting him in a direction around the maze. It would be hard and it would be painful, but less so than like trying to ascend these freaking platforms and then getting shoved all the way back down. Like, ha. Hey, just my opinion, dude. So let's break down the challenge courses now. They're basically the same. You get to a Bowser stage, and it's not a Bowser stage, it's a challenge course. And there's 3 in total, and they are extremely similar, and they get progressively harder. I was a bit put off that there was no boss fight at the end of these at first, but honestly, they definitely lived up to their title. They were hard. And I think Challenge Course 3 was harder than regular Course 4, because that was a challenge. It actually made me break out in a sweat a few times. And, yep. And every one there is, that the course goes on for a little bit longer. Also, that Redial from Bomberman theme that I mentioned is also here, and again, every time you enter a challenge course, there's a different remix which is appropriate for the redesign of the level, which is pretty cool. I like how the levels were redesigned for each stage of the challenge course. So, let's get to IROC, shall we? Yes, because IROC is the last boss of the game. Funny, you wouldn't think anything of that, but this boss was handled so well. I loved this. So when you enter the stage, there's two signs, and the second one tells you, oh hey, there's a bomb in the middle of the stage. You can throw it at IROC from a distance to avoid the quicksand, because there's quicksand all around the arena. There's basically two ways you can do this. You can start the fight and try to grab the bomb before IROC kills the bomb himself, and like throw it at one of the exposed eyes, and then like long jump all the way across the room to a spot to get the bomb to respawn, and then redo the process all over again, and like hope you get lucky with your hits. Or you can just do the fight the normal way, like tack him and hope you don't get bumped into the quicksand. I opted for the latter because, well, I'm impatient, but the fact that you actually are allowed to have different ways to fight IROC here, and that they're perfectly legitimate, is so good. I love it. I love when bosses from the original game are handled in such a unique way that's fun. So that's definitely one of the highlights of the playthrough. And topping it all off was the Superstar Saga boss music, which I always love. It always gets you pumped up in a fun way. Oh, and of course, like, IROC is retextured in the most dapper way for the occasion, so well done for that. And then there was the Hallway of Memories, which you go to after defeating IROC, which I love. It's like a nice little tribute to each course before the end. So, general thoughts. I like this hack. Did I love it? I'm not sure yet, but the good definitely outweighs the bad. And Tetracattle definitely did a great job in a lot of areas. I think the weakest part of the hack, and these aren't necessarily huge negatives, just oddities I noticed, are things being in places that they shouldn't be, like some music tracks not fitting the stage, or some design choices, or objectives being far too hidden, like the red coin in Course 14. And probably the biggest example, which is Course 4 being way earlier on than it should have been. But again, not necessarily huge negatives, just weird stuff, which didn't overly bother me, just it's something. But there was consistently good design, even if bland in some areas, like the first few courses. There was a decent difficulty curve, if we leave out the obvious examples, and some great dialogue from the characters in the game. Like, the boss dialogue in particular was sublime, like Big Bob-Omb ordering Mario to show him papers, Wiggler wanting to shrink down, or Koopa the Quick needing a run in the Magmatic Nexus thing. And the star name paired with him. That was gold. Like, what was it? Like, assisting the elderly or something like that. It was so good. And then IROC just being exhausted at the end of everything. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna piss off now that you've beaten me. Bye. So, to sum this all up, I liked the game. Did I love it? I don't know. But I enjoyed it. And not every game needs to be difficult for me to enjoy it. I've said it before, I will say it again. While I do enjoy a decent challenge every now and then, what my enjoyment boils down to is playing a game and/or ROM hack I know is fun. And Timeless Rendezvous here checked all the boxes. The times I didn't really have fun were due to my own playing ability going downhill, which I already talked about, like combining with Course 4 and making that more of a miserable experience than it should have been. I probably would have liked Course 4 more if I was in a better mood that day, so I still think it's a fine course. It's just really difficult. But another like condition I gave myself was like trying to force myself not to use save states for the longest time, and that, you know, still failed. So let's look back a bit. 10 Years After was still fun in its own way, but it definitely tested my patience a lot more than this game did. And I understand that there are a lot of Mario 64 ROM hack players who relish a huge challenge and welcome Kaizo stuff with open arms. Simply put, those aren't for me. Maybe I'll put my foot forward into a light Kaizo again, such as 10 Years After, sometime later down the line, but for now I'll be sticking to the average Joe stuff. I'm sorry if like that disappoints you, but hey, gotta look out for myself too. But let's look out for other people now. Regarding the triple Let's Play aspect of it, I was keen on noting the playstyles of my dudes here. It's my first time playing alongside True Bacon Force, and I knew before starting this Let's Play that he has a lot of experience with Kaizo stuff. So I was expecting him to fly through the game at light speed, and even so, even he got caught at a few points during his run, and a few parts made me like double over, especially getting caught in the beam in Course 4. Like where he got stuck there for like a minute, and eventually he actually managed to recover, and like that pumped me up. It was so good. The fact that he saved it was just great. But the fact that he finished 3 parts before me, Josh, did is like, it's a testament to how good and knowledgeable of a Mario 64 player he is. And I think the biggest thing to take away from that is not once did he use a single save state. Not once. So he knows what he's doing, and he does it well. As regarding his playstyle, when he goes into a level, he goes for coins first, because I guess that gives him a more exploring feel for the level, and then he can just knock out stars from there. MetaDDD, on the other hand, he wants to explore first and collect coins later, and his playstyle reflects that. Like, and I definitely respect that. I kind of went between the two, honestly. Sometimes I would collect coins first, other times I would collect them last. I guess it depends on the level for me, but I know how MetaDDD's playstyle is especially after doing the dual LP of 10 Years After with him. I think Josh was probably the most entertaining of us three because he had the most comical moments. Like, I will never, ever get over how stupid the IROC battle was. He literally killed himself on the Bob-omb, and that was inconceivably good. Just pure magic. But, like, even so, he's always been entertaining to watch, and, like, I definitely wanted to see more of his material, as well as Bacon Forces in the future. And I also want to see more of Tetrakel's works, because he did a great job with this ROM hack. So, yeah. That's about it. Thank you to MetaDDD and True Bacon Force for doing the triple LP with me. And thank you to Tetrakel for making a choice ROM hack that I had a lot of fun with. For now, I will be playing Wario Land 2 straight to the end, and after that, I'll have decided what to do going forward. So, yeah. Thank you for sticking with me till the end, and this is the end of Timeless Rendezvous. Peace, love, and happiness all. See ya.